every one of you here today. I'm Jennifer Strader. I'm one of the sales managers at Danville's Toyota. I've been in the car business for about 6 years now. Let me tell you just a little bit about how I did that, because I actually didn't start off thinking I was going to be in the car business. I actually started off when I graduated from college as a pharmaceutical rep. I did that for about 2.5 years, and then my husband Andy and I decided we were going to have kids, and I stayed home for 13 years. So if you're a stay-at-home mom or a single mom and you've ever experienced that, you know what kind of job that is. But I decided I wanted to go back in the workforce because I had a lot of goals and dreams that I had yet to accomplish, and so I got an opportunity to go into the car business. I started off in internet sales, did a very good job at that, and realized how much I loved the car business. And then after that, I was a customer relations manager, and then I worked for an owner for a little while, and then did finance manager for a while. I left the car business for about a year, and I was a loan officer at a bank, and decided that I wanted to go back. So I went back in the car business as an internet sales manager, and then just recently became a sales manager. So I'm super, super excited about all the opportunities in the car business for women. Just like some of the other industries we talked about earlier, a lot of these industries are heavily dominated by men, and this business is a great opportunity if you ever want to do something different and go into something and take advantage of all the opportunities that a woman can have. So great, great business. If you want to talk about that afterwards, I'd love to share with you. First thing I want to talk about is utilize your strength as a woman when you're going to buy a car. All this information that we're sharing with you, we're giving you insider trading tips, okay? This is stuff typically in the car business people aren't going to talk about. We're not going to tell you how to go and buy a car. But as a woman, you need to know this information, because when they see you walk into a dealership, they already think they have an advantage over you. But if you research, you know knowledge is power, right? Knowledge is power. So if you have the research done before you walk in that door, you're going to surprise whatever man walks up to you and they think they have the advantage over you, you'll have the advantage over them. So take this information. Everything that Beth was saying, that was a lot of information, just so you know. But however, please take that, look back through it. It's super, super important that you know that before you walk in the door. I'm going to talk to you about next is your trade. This is kind of a weird thing. A lot of people don't really investigate their trade. I mean, we all have a vehicle that we're driving currently, so most likely you're going to trade it in. So there are 2 good resources for you to look at on that. Kelley Blue Book is great. So is also NADA, and I'm going to throw one more in there. I'm going to say Black Book. I actually really like Black Book a lot. So if you were to come into my dealership this afternoon and you decided that you wanted a new vehicle, you're going to hand me your keys and I'm going to go out and I'm going to look at your vehicle. After I look at your vehicle, I'm going to kind of investigate the cosmetics of it, and then I'm going to look at the tires. Those are 2 main things that I'm going to look at. Then I'm going to drive it. I want to see if it's been well maintained and taken care of. So some tips for you, if we go to the next slide, some tips for you to make sure that you get the most for your trade. The first thing is you want to make sure you keep up with that maintenance. You know, Jenny was talking about maintenance earlier. Super, super important. Make sure you're getting those oil changes and tire rotations. The manufacturers suggest a lot of other maintenances too. They're not just things they came up with. Those are things that help to keep your car for a long, long time. Most people do trade fairly often, but there are some people, you may be one of them, who keeps their car a long time, and so you need to keep up with those things, okay? The other thing that you need to do when you're thinking about your trade and getting the most for your money is you make sure that you always go to a certified mechanic to get the work done, okay? The reason I'm telling you this is because one of the things, like Beth was just talking about, one of the things I'm going to look at on your trade is the Carfax. So if I look through that Carfax and I see that there are no maintenance records on it, I'm going to assume that you did not take care of your car. There's a deduction for that, just right off the top. The other thing I'm going to look at that Carfax for is I'm going to look to see if there's any accidents. So we're talking about the cosmetic things on your vehicle is next. Make sure that if you run up on a curb or anything that you damage the exterior of that car, make sure you go ahead and file that with your insurance, because it really does help the value of your trade when you get ready to trade it in, okay? Next slide is understanding why trade-in value is lower than market value. I'm actually going to read this part because it's a lot of information. When a consumer buys a car and is selling their prior vehicle to the dealership, the amount that is quoted is called the trade-in value. If the consumer is selling the vehicle on their own, the amount is called the market value. And that is kind of something you do need to keep in mind, because you're going to see several different values when you look on Kelley Blue Book at these websites. You want to make sure you understand what each of these are. To understand why the trade-in is less, first understand there are two reasons a dealership accepts trade-ins. A trade-in may be well-maintained example of a model the dealer can recondition and sell on their used car lot. The dealer is making it easier for the consumer to be able to purchase a new vehicle. When a dealer buys a vehicle from a customer, they're making the customer's life a little easier while adding complexity and uncertainty to their business model. Why? Because paperwork regarding the transfer must be completed and filed. The vehicle must be inspected, it must be reconditioned, and in some cases repaired. Just so you know, when we take in a vehicle, those two numbers, the trade-in value versus, I call it the retail value or market value, those two things, you're going to see market value is going to be much higher than the trade-in value. The reason for that is, in the state of Virginia, you are only required by law to state inspect a car that is used and put it on a lot. So the advantage to Danville Toyota, what we do is we don't just put your car on the lot with state inspections. If you buy a used car from us, you know that it's been through a multi-point inspection. We look at anything on that vehicle that we anticipate could go wrong, and we fix it before we ever put it out there. And the reason for that is we really do care about our reputation. We want you to think of us in a good light. We want you to come back. We love our customers, so we're going to do that. Typically, we spend anywhere from $750 to about $1,500 on every used car, just so that it's right for you if you purchase it on our lot. All right, next slide. You can always opt to sell it, which is that market value that we were talking about. It is a little bit of a difficult process to do on your own, and sometimes it can just be a frustrating process. That's why we do trade-ins, because we want to make it an easy process for you. Some things to be aware of if you do decide you want to sell your own vehicle. Be aware of the state and local laws governing the private sale of vehicles, because there are some. To get the maximum value, you need to make sure that you have your vehicle cleaned, replace the worn items on it, and repair anything that doesn't work in order to get that value for it, okay? The consumer must also advertise for the vehicle and arrange for people to meet them, to test drive it and look it over. Also have to do quite a bit of paperwork, so you may want to think about that. The other part of it is the DMV work, titling and that kind of thing. That can be difficult. We actually have people on staff that are very versed in DMV and titling, which makes it really nice for you. You don't have to worry about that. Because if you're ever going to the DMV for any length of time, you know it's not an easy process. And the next thing I'm really excited to talk about is some common myths versus facts in the automobile industry. Once I got into the car business, it was actually one of those things I had a lot of misconceptions about what was going on. The first one is car salespeople make thousands of dollars when they sell a car. Believe it or not, that is not true. It really isn't. Most guys that sell a car, they make about $200 on average. Sometimes it's $100. It's not a lot of money. So if you think that when you're saying to that person, hey, I know you've got more room to do it, most of the time we really don't. There's about a 1 to 2% markup in cars. If you'll look at the rest of that, it shows you that Apple, Google, and Microsoft, they earn about a 20% net margin. Comcast is 12% and ExxonMobil 8%. So you can tell there's a pretty big difference in what we make on vehicles. Another myth is paying cash will get you a better deal. Not true. With us, we are actually incentivized by banks to finance. They want our business, so they give us a little bonus if we finance with them. So there are some times when you might get a little bit better deal if you finance. So just know that for your knowledge. The other thing is you can get a better finance rate by going through your bank personally. There are times when that does happen. However, for the most part, we do so many loans that if you finance through us, we actually probably can get you a great rate. So, and we have about, right now I think we have somewhere around 35 banks that we're using, so we can look at so many to find you that best rate too. The next one is you should wait till the end of the month to get the best deal. Not true. There are times when we're getting ready to hit a goal and we want to do that deal at the end of the month, but a lot of times we've hit our goal by mid-month and we might not make the deals we were making at the beginning of the month. But I will tell you, at our dealership, if we can help make a deal with you, we're going to do it. Most of us want to be successful. So those are the myths. The next part I want to talk about, this is actually kind of my baby. I did this for a little while, and I actually, I notice a lot of people when they walk into a dealership, one of the things that they really get nervous about is walking into a finance office. When you walk into that office and you're getting ready to sign all the papers, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want them to sell me anything, please. But I'm going to tell you, there's two things in that office when you go in there that I have discovered over time are fabulous to have, and they're really, really important. They protect you, and I'm going to go over those. The first one is what we call vehicle service contracts. You'll hear people call it extended warranties. Years ago, you heard a lot of things about don't buy those, don't buy them, they're not worth it. But that is definitely changing. Vehicles are now one of the fastest growing technological devices in the world. Their mechanical systems are powered by sophisticated software and monitoring systems. These types of repairs can cost you thousands of dollars. I'm not sure what the exact number is, but I've looked at several manufacturers. You're looking at somewhere between 35 and 45 computers in your vehicle. And each one of those computers, if they have to be replaced, they fail, you're looking at $1,000. You're looking at $1,500 just to replace them. Most of us do not have that just to throw out when we need to. So that's why the vehicle service contract can be very important. Due to the importance of these products for consumers, you're seeing more and more banks and insurance companies supporting the purchase of vehicle service contracts. And what I mean by this is you'll see that banks offer that. When I was working as a loan officer, we wanted you to have a vehicle service contract because we're giving you a loan for a vehicle. And if you default on that loan because you can't pay for the repairs, guess who's left with it? The bank. And they don't like repossessions. So we like that. We like vehicle service contracts when you're at a bank. Vehicle service contracts can be cheaper at the time of the purchase of that vehicle. I've heard some skeptical things about that. It is actually very true. As the miles get added to a vehicle, they are more expensive to purchase. Not only that, but you can't get a term as long as you could when you first purchase it. Different companies offer vehicle service contracts, but make sure you read what all is covered and not covered. You don't want to get in a situation where you think that it covers one thing and it doesn't. Another thing that I will tell you, just a little blurb on warning you, typically, you're going to have, if you get telemarketer calls or you may see something in the mail and it's telling you, hey, your warranty has expired. I'm sure you've seen these. Make sure you call us, or they call you on the phone. Please do not do that. Please do not. I bet I have 3 to 4 people that walk in the dealership a week. They're all upset because they think their warranty is expired. There's a big scam that's going on right now, so make sure you go somewhere legitimate that has, and we're not going to support a product that we don't think is legitimate, so make sure you go somewhere when you're getting these to make sure they're good products. The next thing I want to talk about is gap coverage. I'm going to explain what it is. When I was doing finance, a lot of people didn't know what gap coverage was, so I'm just going to explain it to you. I'm going to try to make it easy to understand. Let's just say, for instance, that today you're coming and you're going to purchase a vehicle and it's $25,000. You see that on the chart? That's the value of the vehicle when you purchase it, right? That top line there that kind of curves down, that is, as you make payments, what happens? Eventually you're going to pay that car off, right? That's what you owe on the vehicle. There's another line, I don't know if you can tell, where the yellow and the blue, the line there that curves down, that makes it look like a banana kind of, that is actually what your car's valued at, okay? If for some reason you were to have an accident and your insurance company totaled your car, you're gonna owe the bank that top red line, okay? Let's say you owe $20,000. However, the insurance company is only gonna pay you what your car is worth. The difference between those two is called the gap. Gap coverage, is what that does is it pays that difference. So if you have a $5,000 difference in that, you don't have to drive a car, you don't have to pay for a car you can't drive. gap coverage covers it so you can get into another vehicle very easily. Most of the people in the car business, you will notice if you ever ask them, most of them have gap coverage because we've seen enough people that have walked in the doors and can't buy a car because they owe money on another one. So gap coverage, super, super important. It's a great protection for you. The last thing I'm going to talk about is benefits of leasing. The manufacturers have done an amazing job at making leasing a great, great program. Years ago, people had so many horror stories, you didn't hear positive things about it. However, you have a lot of options when you lease. If you're purchasing a car and you're purchasing it every 2 to 4 years, leasing probably is a good idea for you. It's going to save you some money. At the end of your lease, you actually have more options. There's 3 things you can do. If you have leased a vehicle, at the end of it, you can turn it in, no questions asked. You don't have to do anything else. The second thing you can do, you can trade it in and you can lease another vehicle, or you can purchase a vehicle. So you can do that as well. And then the last thing is you can actually purchase the vehicle that you've been leasing. The cool thing about that option is you're guaranteed, when you sign the lease in the beginning, you're guaranteed a residual value on that car. So if for some reason, let's say that in 3 years that car is valued at $20,000, but you were guaranteed that you can purchase it for $15,000, guess what? You just built $5,000 with equity in your car. So it's a great, great program. And then you can also save money on repairs and with leasing because you're already under, instead of doing the vehicle service, you don't need a vehicle service contract and extended onto this one because you have that whole time you have comprehensive warranty on it. So great, great option for you if you're the type of person that's going to continually have a car. Okay? And that's everything. Yes, ma'am? Yes, ma'am, we do. When you go into the finance office, there's actually some other products too. I didn't talk about those, but gap coverage is an option for you, as well as the vehicle service contract. And I will tell you, they're very inexpensive to add onto your loan. Typically, gap coverage raises your monthly payment by $10. I mean, I can waste that in a day at Starbucks. So, I mean, $10 a month is great to make sure you have that protection. So, yeah, it's definitely something we offer. Any other questions? Yes.
Is the credit score the same as with financing as with leasing?
Can you say that a little bit louder?
Is the credit score the same as with financing as it is with leasing the car, your finance options?
Right, we do look at your credit score for leasing just like we do for financing. It's all based on an individual basis. I mean, there's not like any cutoffs or anything like that. Typically, once we pull your credit, we can know whether you would qualify for leasing or not. It actually might be a little bit easier to lease. I haven't looked at it lately, but I know it used to be a little bit easier. Anything else? No? Any other questions? Yes?
I can say for Toyota, if I was purchasing a Toyota vehicle, is that after I paid the vehicle off and I needed a loan, title loan or something like that, or even a bank loan, I got more value on my Toyota. And I could have a 2006 paid off and a 2010 paid off. They would take the Toyota every time. So, I mean, it's truth in the value of the Toyota.
You're absolutely right. In fact, that's one of the things that Beth was talking about when he was talking about resale value. Toyotas tend to top the charts in just about every category. You usually have more value in a Toyota than you do in any other vehicle, which is super nice for the consumer. So, and the great thing is we work there, so that's awesome. But yes, I mean, I think the FJ Cruiser has stayed there forever and ever. And then you've got the Tacoma at the top, the RAV's pretty close to the top. Most of those vehicles, they're great vehicles. They last forever if you want them to. And then if you decide you want to sell it or trade it in, at least you know you're going to get a great value for it. So it's awesome. Anything else about purchasing a vehicle?